Well, hello there, and welcome back to War Thunder. I'm Corny Swiss, and today I'm driving the M103 in the Absolute Simulator Battle event. And I wanted to start this video off by thanking everyone who came out to the live stream uh, Saturday. It was a lot of fun, really enjoyed it, and hopefully we can do more of those soon. I don't know when, but I'll get to work on trying to schedule some more. Now, in this battle, I joined pretty late. By the time I joined, all three zones were capped, and I was taking HE fire from an IS-4, and then someone typed in chat, "Are you recording?" And I said I wasn't, but because I had totally forgotten. But now I am, obviously. And the thing I kind of wanted to focus on in this video was the Absolute Simulator game mode. Right. I still find it very enjoyable. However, there are some issues. And I think these issues have probably been covered by other people, but I don't think I've ever really said my piece about it. There's a couple issues I have with Absolute Simulator at the moment, and why I hesitate to be extremely stoked that we're going to see this as a full game mode that'll replace the current simulator battle. And it has to do with a few different things people do, regardless of whether they need to or not, to, gain a competitive advantage. The primary one is turning off vegetation. I struggle to see a situation where having that function in the game will be conducive to this game mode, because this game mode relies so much on situational awareness, being able to see the enemy vehicle. And, if you turn the vegetation off, it's actually really, really easy to see enemy vehicles, And I understand why it's in the game. I understand that it's, if your PC's not, doing so hot, you can turn off the vegetation so you can play at a reasonable FPS. And I understand that, and that makes perfect sense. And I definitely want people who don't have tremendous PCs to be able to play this game and not, suffer from like 2 FPS the entire time they're playing, However, the Absolute Simulator Battle mode, it just needs to have vegetation, it needs to have that concealment, because that's the whole idea of the mode, right? You can't, the current Simulator Battle mode in a way deals with this, because the minimap still shows you where everyone is. I've been killed many times. It doesn't happen every time, but there's been plenty of times where I've been there's one time in particular I remember that I was hit from like a kilometer and a half away through. I was on one side of the forest, they were on the cleaned other side of the forest. It was actually on this map just on the northern part. No, it was on Mozdok. And I was in the forest and I got hit from a kilometer and a half away. I wasn't moving at the time, I was sitting. And I don't know, to me that didn't seem like it was someone who was playing with, grass on or bushes on or things like that, Now, it could have been that he saw me and he just made a tremendous shot. I understand that. That's totally reasonable. But but it's just suspicious. I'll say that. And there's been countless other times where it's been pretty clear to me that either the person is a genius or they are turning off vegetation and things like that to just gain a competitive advantage or just to run the game. But the result is that people who play with vegetation on, have to suffer for it. And I'm not whining about that. I understand it. Partly it's my choice to keep vegetation on because, but I like the way it looks. I think vegetation makes the game look so much better and so much more immersive. So I'm not going to turn them off. I just feel like in Absolute Simulator Battle there should be some... I hesitate to say requirement, but I feel like there should be some type of setting lock where your settings have to be locked to some minimal state. And that minimal state can be, hopefully, includes vegetation. But I don't feel like that's something we'll see in the near future. It's just something that I feel needs to be addressed for this mode to really reach its full, potential. I guess is kind of cliche, but it makes sense here because the mode is defined by your ability to spot and engage targets and not be spotted and engaged yourself. Well, number one way to do that is to, not get shot. And right there, it was pretty unfortunate. A teammate told me I was getting shot from the left, and he actually meant the right. And then the guy I was shooting at decided to take that advantage to shoot me. So, I don't know. You should always listen to your teammates if they have information for you, because a lot of times they're right. Right there, he was probably right, but whatever. It doesn't bother me that much. And and don't worry, you're going to see some horrendous piloting. Don't worry. I'm not leaving you hanging. Another thing I think that needs to be addressed before this game mode kind of reaches or finds its way into a full game mode itself, as the new simulator battle mode. It really there are some things that should be included and some things that really need to be fixed. And the first thing I'll talk about is the maps themselves. I don't mind the maps in War Thunder. I don't think the maps are that bad. I think some make you play a little differently and some are a little bit more challenging, but all in all, I don't dislike any map in the game. With that being said, there are plenty of times and places on maps where you can go that I don't think you should be able to. It's very easy to get outside of maps. For example, on which map is it? Oh, Jungle. On Jungle, if you're in the eastern spawn, you can go up on that ridge in the very eastern part of the map and just play around over there. And it's especially in Absolute Sim where for someone to be outside of the map shooting at you, well, I guess it's not technically outside of the map, but outside of where people are supposed to be playing, throws the entire thing into whack. It's all of a sudden. It happened particularly on the Carpathians map, where a dude climbed to the very top of a mountain, and I understand that's it's within the map, but I feel like there should be some places you shouldn't be able to go because he's got a billion lines of concealment, and I'm pretty sure he had vegetation off, and he hit me from like 2 kilometers away from on top of this mountain. And there's that T-54's capping. I'm going to make the worst rocket run in the history of humanity. Don't worry. I'm going to miss every single one. Bam, 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 bam. Missed. But I recovered it. I'm actually staying in the air, so that's nice. So, I don't like the fact that there are maps. Well, just about every map has something like that, but, I mean, it's less noticeable on others, like Kursk, for example. But I don't like that some maps you're able to exit the normal playing field. And that really, it becomes an issue for me because it just allows you to do things and, most of the time be absolutely useless to your team other than completely shut down an entire flank. But if, God forbid, you have to cap because you won't ever get to the cap. So that's something that kind of annoys me that I've noticed playing this event. And then, what's the other thing? Also, I think it's a little debatable to not have any speed indicators or altitude indicators like for planes, or I mean in the current simulator battle mode for planes, which I feel like is very, very good in terms of what they're going for. You have all those gauges, and in the Absolute Sim you don't have any of those gauges, which I guess that's not a horrible thing. You can kind of tell how fast you're going. You can kind of tell how high you are. It's not a huge deal. It just helps when when you need very specific amounts of speed to do things. Like, okay, if you're above a certain speed, you can pull this maneuver. If you're not, you can't. So it's something you have to be aware of. And not having the gauges means you have to look down onto these guys, and it just seems like an extra step. I wouldn't mind knowing what my engine RPM is or something like that in this game mode for tanks and things like that. but it's not the end of the world. So, I mean, those are just my thoughts. I really like this game mode, and I think it should become the new sim, and it definitely is, and it's going to be happening sooner than we think. And oh, of course, always, like, just dive into the ground if you can when the game's over. But my big issue is, I think, the vegetation. I think it has to be locked in such a way that you can't turn it off, or at least you can't turn it down so far that there's no that the competitive advantage is there. And I understand that, you know, if you have a low NPC, you just can't manage it, and yeah, it's just it's game breaking to me. It's, well, not game breaking, but it's the game mode is fundamentally flawed if that's a thing. And people have made this argument before, but it's just from playing over the last day is just kind of reaffirmed that to me. But anyway, enough with my ramble and rant. That'll be it for this video. Like I said, thanks again for coming to the live stream if you did. I'll try and figure out how to get the whole VOD on to YouTube. I think I only can get the first 2 hours because I'm dumb, but whatever. Thanks for watching. I'm in Corny Swiss, and I'll see you next time.